December 27th, 10:35 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
Court is now back in session. Witness, please testify to the court about everything that you saw on the night of December 24th. Give it to me.
Please, Larry, don't mess this one up. I hate to admit it, but you're the last chance. Von Karma didn't even have time to prep his witness. I just hope Edgeworth is right about this being our big break.
That night I was out at the boat in the lake. I was looking for something, I found it. So I quietly slipped the boat back in the riddle shop dock. Then, just as I was thinking about going home, I heard this bang! I looked down over the lake, I didn't see a boat. So after I heard that single gunshot, I went home.
He always sounds like he just came back from the dentist and he has a numb bottom lip.
That was unusually vague of a testimony, even for this court. In any case, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's wrong, Nick?
It's Larry. I have no idea what he's going to say if I press him. I'm a little scared.
Well, we've come this far, but there's no way to go but forward, Nick.
I feel like I'm losing all of the voices slowly because I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
That night I was out in a boat on the lake.
Oh wait, yeah, this is all dialogue. I always forget. Do them all again. No.
Something wrong, Mr. Wright.
There were so many things wrong. I don't know where to begin. Well, okay. First of all, what time was it?
I was after 11 when I went out in the boat. By that time, everyone got home for tonight. So I waited until the coast was clear, so to speak.
And why were you on the boat at such a late hour? Looking for something?
Yeah. Mr. Butz. What was it you were looking for?
What the witness was searching for is irrelevant. Most likely he was hunting for this Gordy.
That's surprisingly close to the truth in a sense.
This is all irrelevant. Let's get it over with.
Around what time was that?
Oh, let's see. I think I was out searching for about an hour. I guess it was around 12. No. You're not sure.
Something like turning British.
Hey, don't give me that face! I'm not some sort of human sundial, okay?
People use watches these days, Larry. Where did the sound come from?
Well, I wasn't really too sure about that. I looked around, you know. Did you look at the lake?
What is happening? Just say like Mr.
Yeah, look at the...
Hello there, Mr. Wright.
Wasn't there a boat on the lake?
Ooh, there was a boat on the lake.
Order! Order! Well, Mr. Butz? Whoa, whoa! Everybody's calm down, okay? I mean, it was real foggy that night. Not sure whether there was a boat out there or not.
Oh, okay, no problem. That's just the most important part of this case. So you heard one bang, correct?
Yep.
Well, Nick. It was pretty wishy-washy testimony, wasn't it? I guess I should start working on the contradictions.
Sorry. I wish I could be more helpful. I could just call my sister, I wish.
Turning into Master Yoda, I see.
This says that there was two.
I don't know, maybe Lotta's deposition. Wait a sec, Larry!
What?
You only heard one bang? You're sure?
That's what I said.
But Miss Lotta testified yesterday that she heard two bangs. And the old man just now said the same thing. They both heard two gunshots that night.
Huh?
Were you even listening? Were you paying attention at all to what they said?
No, Dick, please.
Huh?
You know something's been bothering me. I'm a witness, see? I'm like a customer here. So you gotta treat me nice and stuff, okay? Mr. Butz. What? You only heard one gunshot? Are you sure? Well, tell you the truth, I'm not too sure.
Not sure? How could you not be sure?
Yeah, well, I might have missed the other gunshot. I was listening to something else.
Something else?
My radio, you, with my headphones.
What?
Order! Order! And stop that booing! Mr. Butz! You are listening to the radio with your headphones? Yeah, so what is that crime? I listen to my radio. Everybody listens to the radio. What's the big deal? Mr. Von Kammer, your opinion?
Waste of time. I do not accept this witness, nor his shoddy testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, should we continue the testimony?
Your Honor? Please allow the witness to continue his testimony.
Bah ha ha! Nothing is more pitiful than a lawyer who doesn't know when he's lost.
Very well, Mr. Butz. Please give your testimony and be sure to include the details like your radio. Right, leave it to me!
Actually said like your radio.
I wanted to there were any other way out of this, believe me.
It's only being alone on Christmas Eve. That's why I was listening to another question on the radio. I was listening to it. See, real booming loud. Like, but I'm not sure, or I am sure that I heard that gunshot. I remember exactly what the DJ was saying, but I heard it too. You were listening to your radio at high volume? That's what's the big problem! Can't a man listen to his radio in peace? Isn't this a free country?
I truly believe Larry has no idea what the problem here is.
Judge! Can you believe a word this witness says? What he heard was probably nothing more than a drum beat from the radio.
True enough. But it is difficult to believe this testimony.
Wait, Your Honor! The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said when he heard the gunshot.
Excuse me? DJ?
An announcer, the guy who says things on the radio. Anyway,
Does the judge live in a cave where he doesn't interact with any technology?
Pretty much.
what this means is, when he heard the sound, no music was playing. The DJ was only talks between songs, so he could have heard the gunshots from the lake. I'd like to cross-examine the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Wright.
I can't believe I'm continuing the charade! So you turned on the radio?
Right! I just want to hear someone's voice, you know? You don't know what it's like out there alone on Christmas Eve. Alone.
I shouldn't have said anything. Do you by any chance remember the name of the program you were listening to?
This has nothing to do with the case, Your Honor.
Objection sustained. The witness was listening to the radio, that's all we need to know. Tell us, Mr. Butz, how loud was your radio set to that night?
Real booming loud?
Yeah, you know. And you had headphones on. Yup! I wouldn't think you could hear anything going on outside after all that.
Can you prove that? No, of course you can't.
Yeah, I can't prove it. I do remember that moment really clear. I mean, I was listening while talking about it, about you bleeding me, you know?
What?
What did she say?
Mr. Wright! Please cease this pointless questions. What possible good could knowing what a radio DJ said to us?
Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care.
I don't see a reason, but I'll pretend to.
We should care! Your Honor, of course we should!
Why?
Well... How What do you know if we don't ask?
Fine, okay. Mr. Butz, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the gunshot? Just what she said. Hey! It's almost Christmas! I heard the gunshot.
This is the most ludicrous testimony I've ever heard. There's one gleaming ray of hope in there. We've got to press until we get to the bottom of what happened.
Why would...
That's further.
Well, I'm thinking, why would she say it's almost Christmas when the gunshot was at 12? That's Christmas.
It's true.
Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct?
What is with your face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you try to scare me, you better know I don't scare that easy. Is something the matter, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor! Did you hear what the witness just said? The DJ said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas!" when he heard the gunshot!
Okay, and?
Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas!
Best line in all of Ace Attorney.
Do you realize what this means?
Thinks Wright's lost it.
When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve!
That would seem to be the case, yes.
But he should have heard the gunshot after midnight! This photograph is irrefutable evidence of this fact! Let's see what the time was on the photo taken when the gun triggered Miss Hart's camera.
12:25. 15 seconds into the day. 15 minutes into the day. 15 minutes after midnight on Christmas Day.
This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor.
Order! Order! What does this mean? The two prior witnesses have heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight.
Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him. Suspicious.
What?
You didn't destroy your vocal cords with that one.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think about Mr. Butz's claim before he heard the gunshot before midnight?
Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard the gunshot before midnight.
Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim. Show me evidence there was a gunshot before midnight.
Oh, the other photograph. One of just an empty lake here. Look at this photograph! This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart. The timestamp on the photo reads December 24th, 11:50 p.m.
Oh. But there's nothing on the lake in this picture.
Your Honor, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It is why the photograph exists at all.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, this
Just
photo.
make some weird mouth noises.
This photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises.
Uh-huh.
Correct! There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it was most definitely still Christmas Eve.
Indeed, it would seem that this is the case. Where does that leave us?
How does that change anything?
Miss Hart testified that she heard gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken?
Not at all, Your Honor. It is a fact that the camera also triggered 15 minutes after midnight. Your Honor, that night there were 2 sets of gunshots, with a 25-minute pause between them.
Why would this be?
Don't be fooled, Judge. The camera was set to respond to loud noises.
Yes?
There is no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera.
Hey, my nose was clear that night, man. Clear. Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot? Please show us the court evidence if you have any.
That's the only thing I can think of. This is my evidence.
The murder weapon?
Something about this pistol is bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. When then was that last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. The 3rd shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight.
Order! Order! That would make sense of the evidence we've seen so far. However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen the night on the lake.
Exactly! If this is true, then there are 2 sets of gunshots separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you, why?
Oh, I'd better think of something quick. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes. Ah!
What's wrong, Nick?
I have it! Remember the case with the Steel Samurai?
Yeah, of course I remember.
The murder in this case had the same idea as the murder in that case.
What do you mean?
Maya!
What?
If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch, and I'm going to run with it.
Okay, I mean, is this safe?
Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We have nothing to lose. You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor!
What, Mr. Wright? Stop screaming!
The testimony just now has cleared up this entire case.
What do you mean, Mr. Wright?
So you finally realized the truth. There can be no other murderer here than Mr. Miles Edgeworth himself.
Wrong, Varn Karma.
Wrong, Varmint.
A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting.
Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. It couldn't have been a suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be another man on that boat. Or the other man on the boat.
Carpenter's really tripping over his words.
I admit it's hard to imagine any other possibility.
Yes. But this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting.
That's what I was going to say. The timestamp on the photo says 15 minutes after midnight.
But Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent.
Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who the two men on the boat are. What do you... How am I supposed to just guess this?
Think it through. Logically.
Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth.
I don't think I went the right direction with this. Someone put on a disguise of Mr. Hammond, supposedly.
What? Are you serious?
Yes, Edgeworth wouldn't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place.
I'm not sure what to make of all this.
Ludicrous!
Mr. Wright. Tell us the name of the murderer then.
The murderer's name? Wright. It's...
Miles Edgeworth. I want it to be a lot of heart, but I don't think it is. What happens if I say it though?
The murderer is none other than Miss Lotta Hart!
The investigative photographer?
Yes.
You're saying that the young lady dressed up like Robert Hammond fooled Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes. Well, she did look sort of manly.
I am ashamed I actually listened to this utter nonsense. Listen! He came to this conclusion based on one piece of evidence. That is the photograph taken at 11:50. If you didn't have this photograph, you would never have made this claim. Correct? And just who was it who went out of her way to give it to you? That piece of evidence?
It was Lotta Hart.
Why would the murderer go to all the trouble just to deliver you decisive evidence?
I guess they wouldn't.
Mr. Wright, I'm gonna penalize you for this.
Whoops.
Mr. Wright, can you tell us the name of the murderer?
I think she still could have dressed it like a man. Get away with it.
I think she had a sniper rifle.
The murderer's name? Right. It's...
I don't see how saying Miles Edgeworth would help at all.
Actually, I don't know the murderer's name.
You don't know?
Again, you waste my time.
I don't know because he never told us.
Eh?
The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop. That old man. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond.
The caretaker of the boat shop?
Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on that lake then.
Judd is about to start a fight.
He's mad. He wants to go home and done this trial.
Why would he have to go all the way out on the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest the real scene of the crime was not on a boat?
What? Well, then, where did the murder take place? How would I know? That shore here? Or...
Well, would he have killed him on the lake? At the hot dog stand? At Lotta's car? Or the caretaker's shop?
I'm just thinking, how would she have not heard the gunshot at 11:50?
Does it happen at her?
When she's right there.
Yeah, it happened right behind her.
Gordy comes out at midnight.
Yes.
She might have been asleep.
Around here, maybe?
Maybe, Mr. Wright? And does this maybe include the reason why the killer would have chose this spot?
Yes, well, maybe because there is no good reason. The murderer thought we'd never inspect it.
You disappoint me.
He wasn't even surprised I goofed up.
Almost been off slightly. Why didn't move the cursor to the middle of the screen? Like, just put the cursor there to begin with. Okay. Do I have proof that
Would this be more accurate to the game's liking?
I think you're a bit too close to the roof.
Well, last time I clicked like here, as I thought.
Just click on the house. Here, of course, the boat shop where he lives. That way he could meet with the victim without anyone seeing.
You have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the murder?
Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That night, he was out on the lake searching for something. He finds it and returns the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor! Even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat?
At Lotta Hart's camp, where she dressed as the person who killed him. The boat shop. Mr. Wright! What happened that night at Gold Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nick, are you sure about this?
Not really. But I think if I start at the beginning and I take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop.
Von Karma sees this in green text right now.
This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got in the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake.
Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright?
Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice, both missed Edgeworth, on purpose.
Wait a minute.
Yes!
Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone?
Details!
Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice.
I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor.
Create a witness?
The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first shot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and fires again. Then, silence.
Did he just contradict himself? Did he say he fired twice and then little Larry fired again? Or did you say he fired once?
He said he fired once, then fired again.
I'm so confused. What is he doing to himself?
The murderer jumps from the boat himself, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him.
I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that
One of the two men on the boat had shot the other.
The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice, to draw attention to the boat. Once you realize that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop.
Then Maya sneezed.
Then he put Robert Hammond's wet coat back on his body and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. There are the events that transpired that night on Gore Lake.
Bailiff! Bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker. Quickly! Very well. While we are waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand. Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said.
Yes.
Well, why'd you go to the lake that night?
What Wright has said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago, I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop by the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me.
Something important?
I'm sorry. I can't say what it was. Your Honor, sir!
Bailiff, we are conducting a trial here. I ask that you remain quiet.
The witness has disappeared, sir! He isn't at the boat shop either, sir!
What?
What should I do, sir?
It's not like you're related to the bellboy.
He's his cousin.
What should I do, sir? Find him quickly. We cannot allow him to get away. Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared.
A search warrant has already been issued.
Goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilize all its forces to find the witness. Am I understood? One more thing. Just who is that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to the trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is. Okay, court is adjourned.
December 27th, 1:22 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lumpy, number 2. Yay, Nick, you did it!
Yeah. Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict.
And what about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out.
Sure, once I sifted through all his unique testimony. Still, You did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients.
Hey, Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Did you say something?
Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably gonna get off the hook. You could try to smile just a little. Relax!
I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet.
What do you mean?
Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now, and I don't know whether or not to tell you.
Edgeworth?
No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you to get it off my chest, but I can't make up my mind.
What is this about, Edgeworth?
It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed.
A crime you committed?
A memory of a murder.
To be continued!
Bum, bum, bum.